Right there, right there. That's the number of days that I have left until I am officially retired, a lady of leisure. I don't know if that's going to be so. Anyway, hello again. Welcome back to my little channel. Ever since that day has been drawing closer. Well, that's not true. I've actually been doing it for about a couple of years now. But this year I really started to make sure that I did certain things. And I've been focusing more on my health. At 62, I'm retiring, so I'm going to be responsible for getting my own insurance and as well as probably changing doctors and so forth, but still taking care. You still have to take care of yourself. Including this year, I got a bone density test for the first time at my age. So, and not a bad report. But anyway, I have been trying to concentrate more on my health this year, and I think it's something that we all really need to do, especially because we're moving into a different now phase of life, whether you're retiring or not. As we get older, we have to take care of ourselves. There was a day when, in the past, I always would go on diets and trying to lose weight, but I found that I was doing the same thing over and over again. I was gaining and losing the same amount of weight, and at one point, I hit what they call diet bottom, and I didn't want to do it anymore at that point. And so I started instead to become a person who eats intuitively. I read the book Intuitive Eating, and it really was life changing for me. But even so, sometimes you don't eat the way that you're supposed to eat. I want to preface this by saying I'm not a doctor and I'm not a nutritionist, although I work with two, I've had the pleasure of working with two wonderful nutritionists, both of which would tell you nobody's perfect. We make baby steps. We make good changes. We take that everything a day at a time. Everything that the doctors tell us to do is things that I am trying to follow because I'm a lot of times my habits might not always be good. But I think health is wealth, and the, once you lose your health, you lose everything. And there are things in life that we cannot predict, and anything that could happen that, God forbid, a bad diagnosis or whatever, but we can do a lot of things to take care of us and ourselves and to protect ourselves from things that we can avoid, things that we can go forward. My mother died at the age of 48. She was very overweight. My mom was 5'2" and weighed over 200 pounds. She suffered from diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, heart disease, arteriosclerosis, and also clinical depression. My mom had a lot of problems. Um, at my age, I'm able to do things that she couldn't do in her mid to late 40s. My mom had problems walking and everything. She had a lot of problems. And I think perhaps because I watched that, it made me feel when I lost her, I was 24 years old. It's really young to lose your mom. I had just been married for a couple of years, and that same year, my oldest son was born. Our son Joey was born, and I made a decision at that time, after she passed away, that I would honor my mother by living to be older than her, which we can't always promise that, but I wanted to take care of myself the best that I could, and I've, I've tried to do that, but I really am trying to do that even more so now. What do the doctors tell us to do? The doctors, first of all, tell us to get exercise, that it's recommended to get at least 30 minutes of walking or some form of exercise a day. I try to do that. I don't know if you try to do that, but it's also good for your well being. And that's something that I have made a part of my life. And sometimes I'm not able to do it because of the weather and because of this and that. Yes, I have a gym membership that doesn't cost me very much, so Planet Fitness. But I, a lot of times I prefer just to go out, but I do try to make it a make it a habit to at least get 15 minutes to half an hour of walking a day, as when I go to walk at lunchtime. It's something that I enjoy. It also helps me with stress, which is really beautiful. It really helps a lot. What else do the doctors tell us to do? Well, I try not to drink as much soda. And I'm terrible because after so many years of having diets, I don't really like regular soda. I like diet soda, and that's not good for you either. Everything in moderation, of course, but I try to drink more. Well, tea, but mostly water, to get as much water as possible. And that's something that is easy to do. There's things that we can do that are baby steps, and maybe we won't get all of that in. It's supposed to be 8 to 12 glasses, I believe, a day of water. Um, and I try to do that. I try to get that much, at least 64 ounces. But sometimes, to be honest, I like it mixed with something else. So, but anyway, I tried to get those fluids in. Water helps with so many things, and everything else that the doctors tell us to do to try to get protein, to try to eat protein during the day. And not always, I don't always get that in. And they, sometimes I'll have certain things. I find myself that I feel best when I have little meals, and sometimes dinners are a little bigger, but we're told to have protein and to have green leafy vegetables, and also to have um, vegetables, just to work in vegetables. I happen to be a person who likes vegetables, and something that I found that was really interesting that was that I, as an older person, I began to, I don't know how it happened, because when I was younger, I never ate it. And I'm Cuban, so we ate it in my house. But I started to absolutely love avocados. And I found that I enjoyed having them. I like them for dinner. I'll cut them up. I'll get the smaller ones, the Haas, and I'll cut them up, and I will put away half of it, maybe have it later in the day for dinner, and or I'll have it in the morning for breakfast. Instead of putting cream cheese on an English muffin or butter or something like that, I'll put avocado, and I will put a little salt and pepper on it, and I will also like put a little sriracha, you know. But it was interesting because I found that once I started to make avocado a part of my diet, I actually craved it. And I have heard that that's true, that if you change your way of eating, you begin to crave the things that are good, that are healthy for you. That's something that if you ever, I really recommend the book Intuitive Eating. If and it's still sold, you can get a copy of it, or you can even get a copy out of your library. But it's worth reading, because the nutritionists say in that book that when you start to eat intuitively, you might be eating what you feel like having. Like, you give yourself permission to eat. And I did that in the beginning, and I found something very, very fascinating. I always thought I had a sweet tooth, but I actually am a person like savory. I would I one day, I remember one particular lunchtime, I went and I got this really huge cupcake, and it just sat in my stomach all day long, and I felt I don't feel good. And she says that in the book. She says you'll feel the way that food makes you feel. And again, I'm not a nutritionist. I'm telling you this out of my own experience. Also, keep in mind that someone who's diabetic has to follow a particular diet, and something about that in a second. But I found that I didn't yearn for that, and if I have that, I'll have half of it, and I'm perfectly satisfied having that. I find too sometimes when my husband and I go out, since we're getting older, he's 68 and I'm 62, and the restaurants want to give you these big old portions that are just really too much to eat. You can do it, but you're not going to feel very well afterwards. I find that either I will get that, eat half of it, and then have a great little lunch the next day, or even a couple of days after. I've even frozen them and they're still good. Or me and Bill, a lot of restaurants allow you to share that meal, and it has to be something that I have more of a he's more finicky than me. I like almost everything, but we'll share that, and right there, it's a lot healthier than one person eating the entire thing. So I find that your habits, it's a habit. It's a habit. That's what it is. Just like when I quit smoking, I used to smoke many years ago. When right after 9/11, I quit because my husband also would he was a smoker. He was a smoker since he was a kid. I started smoking when we'd been married for about a year. I always tell me you're a bad influence, but I didn't. I was smoking about a pack a day, and then when Bill became ill, um, he stopped smoking, and I stopped smoking as well. And I never looked back. It was just one, and it's one thing I can cross off my list of not not having. And I always encourage people who do smoke. It can be done. I I don't I don't nag anybody because I know that that has to be a decision that you make for yourself. Like I made for myself. I said, when I finish this pack, I'm done. And that's exactly what happened. So I don't smoke at all, and I've never gone back to it. I had almost quit a few times, including when my kids were, when I was pregnant, but I went right back to it. But there comes a point where you're done. So smoking is out. Um, I'm not a person who drinks a lot. I may have a glass of wine with friends or something like that, but uh, I probably cut that down even a little more because I found my doctor told me that that also is not good for bone health. So I'd rather try to take care of myself as much as possible, especially because I'm klutzy. And I just took a bad fall this year. And I praised God because I didn't, I didn't break anything, but I felt pretty bad because I wasn't paying attention. And that's another thing we need to pay attention, be aware of our surroundings. That's part of it too. My doctor gave me this whole wonderful advice. The other thing too is just to do all, like this year I did everything, including going to the dentist and making sure to keep up with my cleanings. I have periodontal disease, so I have already lost teeth, but I keep up on my cleanings. Yes, there's things that you have to pay for it with that, um, but they're investments into ourselves, into our health. Periodontal disease, they say, is also related to more serious things also in your body. So yeah, you need to take care of the health. The other thing also, besides exercise, that is to keep fit, there's also exercise stretching, which over the past, I'd say 3 or 4 years, and although I'm not as faithful to it as I was at one point, and I'm getting back into it now, I do some yoga, which I actually learned yoga from YouTube. If you want to learn anything, YouTube has it. YouTube. Well, I learned, actually. I learned how to play the guitar also, and I learned how to play the ukulele, and I'm still learning. I'm by no means um, an expert in anything, but I also had learned how to do yoga. And yoga is very good, besides the fact that it's great for stretching, which is also, I found out it's good for bones too, because she mentioned that it was good for your bones, and to have that balance also, because we also need that balance. And then another thing on that in a moment. But actually enjoyed doing yoga. And as a person who has suffered from um, anxiety disorder, yoga also calms you and centers you. And I enjoy it. So for 15, 20, 30 minutes a day, you can give up time to do something else and do that instead. There's something about taking care of yourself. There's some instructors will say, "Thank yourself for coming to do yoga today," and I think that that is such an important part of it because we do that for ourselves, but we also do it for our loved ones. I want to be there to see my granddaughter um, graduate from college, my grandson get married. You know, I want to be there just to be with my husband until as long as I can. That's the whole point of retiring, is so that we have more time to be together, because we don't know how long that we have, you know. So the other thing, and then probably the final thing about just my thoughts about health and taking care of yourself and going to the doctor when you're supposed to. Don't put off your test. Don't put off any of that. If there's any way of doing it, then do it. Take the medicine that the doctor tells you. But also, you really need to love yourself. You need to care about yourself. You need to mother yourself, parent yourself. Because back when I was doing diets, and I had an eating disorder too. You, uh, while you're doing that, you're always like coming down on yourself, and oh, look how much the scale says, and I don't like what the scale says now. But I would rather look at it as a journey rather than a destination, and I would rather treat myself with kindness and being gentle to myself, because you're going to accomplish a lot more, and you're going to be more um, aware of what you're doing. And you're going to do it not because you have to, but because you want to do it for yourself. You want to. I want to go get my avocado. And there's nothing wrong with having the cupcake either. The cupcake has its place, unless you can't, because, like I said, because of health issues. Um, there's something called balance, and it's all about moderation and balance. It's about it's not pleasant when it's constant and you're able to eat it all the time, or when you're able to do anything all the time. It's something about having that balance. It's the same thing how they say work-life balance, work-family balance. There has to be a balance, and balance is good for us. Balance is something that um, is more doable, and it helps you with anxiety. It helps you with all those things. I don't know if my mom had balance. My mom, I think, would hide food, and she would put it into drawers so that my aunt wouldn't find it. My aunt lived. We lived together with my aunt and my cousin, because both of them were divorced. So I was raised with my cousin, and my aunt was a sweet, loving person, but she would come down on my mom when she found that. And looking back, that was, my mom didn't have a love to herself. My mom didn't, which she should have, because she was a great person that I miss every day of my life. And I wish that she'd realized her worth. So if I can say anything with this video, I want to say, listen to the doctor. I've worked with them. They know what they're saying. They know what they're doing. Yes, sometimes the doctor's wrong, but when the doctors talk about all this, they're correct. You know, take care of yourself. Do everything with love for others that are in your life, but also love yourself. Don't eat well because you're punishing yourself. Eat well because you deserve to eat well. If you don't want to listen to me, listen to the authors of intuitive eating. Okay, love yourself enough to take care of the person you are. Forgive yourself if you do something that is wrong. I have had to do that. Forgive yourself for days. Okay, so I ate half the bag of chips, which is my downfall. That is what I'm working on, and I'll give you an update, okay? Because I can't be doing that all the time. That's my little Achilles heel. I love chips. Okay, so but love yourself enough to say, okay, today I'm going to eat a little better. Okay, and do it in baby steps. We have nothing to prove to anybody. It's to yourself. So I hope that you've enjoyed this video. I hope that it has been helpful to you. And if it's been helpful, if you want to share it with someone else, I'm fine with that. Leave me a comment. Leave me a little like if you consider to subscribe. And I look forward to the times to talk to you. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. God bless you.